Hello and welcome to episode 25 of the Build a Nation Challenge, the final episode of the series where we see how far we managed to cope in the coefficients, how the squad's looking, how the final season went, and a look at what went well and what went poorly in the first time we've done this challenge. So stick around, it should be quite good fun. And straight into the end of season review from the final season, the 13th season, where we've picked up a league and cup double again. Not sure why, probably because we won the League Cup double the season before. There wasn't a Charity Shield equivalent because we'd have been playing ourselves, so that kind of what would have been a treble hopefully isn't in there, but it's unfortunate. In terms of the transfers in, star player Francis Juma, the world-class right winger we brought in at the start of the season, very much opportunistic signing. He's been a fairly magnificent capture since we came in. Huge average rating, you can't quite see behind where I am, but an average rating of 7.35 in the Champions League, 8.48 in the Croatian Cup and 7.39 in the league. 4.5 star current ability and potential, and a first name on a team sheet. So he's played 25 games for us in the league, 40 appearances overall, 11 goals, 18 assists. And at 20 million, that's quite a good return for a player who got the star signing of the season, despite weirdly not having the highest rating from the board. But I suppose that's not what it's assessed on. Secondly, we got a backup fullback in Alexander Lazic from Partizan, 4.2 million. Played 26 games, but probably played more than we expected him to. 7 goals, 8 assists. Again, above 7 average, C+ for him. Luis Cordoba, he got the star signing of an A. 2.1 million, came in a defensive midfield role, 32 games in that position, 2 goals, 2 assists, again above a 7 average. We bought in Richard Hulak from PSG, 1.7 million, it's a loan fee. Again, didn't play particularly many games because he was a backup to Martinez, who's had a phenomenal season, which we'll get to afterwards, but an F because of his wages, and he didn't play particularly many games. He's got a couple of goals towards the end, 4 in 7, but when you see Martinez's stats, you can see why he didn't really get much game time. And then Joseph Somzak, who came in as a wonder kid as an opportunistic basis. He's not really played many games for us, so we can't really assess how well of a sign he was. In terms of the transfers out, the big ones really were Mohart and Pereira, going for 41.5 million and 17.5 million respectively. Just getting some of the other players off the book. We finally got down to that kind of 6 foreign national players, which is I've made a mess of since the start of the season. In fact, I think it's probably the first of the 13 seasons where we've been able to have all 6 players on the bench or in the starting lineup without having any excess players missing out. So that's been highly beneficial in the final season. And then in terms of loans, we've got a few players out there. Some of these got some huge potential for coming back next season. Lots of little wonder kids in here. Miroslav Kapin, a homegrown, Emre Vuran, a young German defensive midfielder, Lang we've had around for a while, Max Suat, a right winger who's Croatian, Ivanov, a young Bulgarian, another left back in Badari, Petrus, a wonder kid, Jelinek, a sub goalkeeper, and Tim Broich, just because he's not getting anywhere near the first team at the minute. In terms of the results in the league, finished first, 95 points out of 36 games. We actually won 30 of the 36 games, drew 5, lost 1 quite far into the season. Top goal scorer Martinez with 30 goals in the league. I think he was over 40 all told, but a bit of a walk in the park really. 10 points clear, a plus 38 goal difference on the nearest competitor. There's a couple big results in there. There's a 9-1. I'm pretty sure there's a 9-0 somewhere as well. And the one defeat that came was with 6 games to go against the Hajduk Split, which stopped us getting that kind of unbeaten season, which would have been lovely to sign off with, but it wasn't to be. And to be honest, by that stage, I think we just about won the league. It was just about certain, and we were still recovering from our European exploits and a lot of fitness concerns in there. But again, all told, the best season we've had so far with the best squad we've had so far. In terms of the Champions League, again, we had a really good run in that, getting out of the group stage, beating Porto on penalties, which got us a tie against Man City, which I didn't think we were ever getting through. But a really weird home win 2-1 and then a draw 2-2 in the second leg squeaked us through, where we met Liverpool and they beat us 6-4 overall. But I think they were fairly comfortable in that over the 2 legs, and they were much the better side. But again, Martinez with 8 goals in that little run in the competition, which was really good, and got us some good prize money and helps contribute towards the coefficient as well. And then Croatian Cup, again, an early draw against Zagreb was probably going to be the most difficult, but we beat them 4-0 quite comfortably. At that stage, we were both in Europe, so maybe having the bigger squad and the better rotation with the foreign nationals helped us slightly, but again, quite comfortable through to the final where we beat Istra. Was that 6-3 on aggregate? So, yeah, all told, fairly comfortable. Moments to remember: 9-0 win in the Croatian Cup against Zagora. I think we got 2 hat-tricks in there, did we? No, just one for Martinez, which I think he got a few this season. Champions League, a draw with Lazio, which is quite a big result, but I think, like, if you're going to go a moment to remember, I think beating Manchester City over 2 legs is probably what you would go with, especially beating them 2-1 in the home leg. And then goal of the season scored in the Croatian Cup against Istra. In terms of the finances, again, the reputation's up to 3.5 star, which is fantastic. Sponsorship's gone up. Prize money again up by another 10 million, which is huge. And then merchandise-wise, no surprises in there really. Martinez, the number 1 shirt sale, but it always goes to the striker who gets the goals. In terms of how we lined up, that's fairly accurate, but what I would say is Cordoba would be the holding midfielder. I think Reich and Retov's correct. Toth and Umad, great seasons. Martinez with 47 goals, all told up top. And then in the back, maybe Mendy wouldn't be in, it would be Sangante. But apart from that, it's looking fairly, maybe Novotny at right back as well, but fairly accurate. Certainly the right formation, just a couple of players maybe not quite right. In terms of the accolades, lots of manager of the month, 1 manager of the year. In terms of the club awards, not many surprises really. Player of the season and young player Martinez, he's still only 22. So we've tied him on another 5-year contract, so he's going to be at the club for a phenomenal length of time. We'll look at him afterwards because his goal scoring record is phenomenal. Signing of the season, we've seen, and goal of the season. Top goal scorer Martinez with 47, Juma with the assists at 18, which for a new signing is pretty good. Most man of the matches with Toth, he's coming on the left hand side after Pereira left. He's had a great season as well. And in terms of record breakers, most man of the match in the season, Juma, which is a good sign. Most goals by a player, so Martinez is up to 93 since he joined now. Highest transfer he paid was 19.9 million for Juma, and we received 39.65 for Pereira, rising to 41. In terms of the manager timeline, I think it's another longish one, but I think there's some duplicates in here. So reached 600 games in charge. Champions League win over Man City, something we'll probably never forget. And with the squad we got, and the finances and the size of stadium, it was quite a good victory that. In terms of next gen, David Petras, who we got out on loan, he won the next gen awards. It's the second time we've had a player who's won it, and I think we had 4 players all told in that as well, with Mendy and a couple other ones in there. League winners, 95 points is a club record, or is a league record. Martinez, player of the season. For top goal scorer, goalkeeper was Almeida again, who's going to leave at the end of the season, as is Sangante, which we'll get to, and then the cup winner as well. So huge in terms of the timeline. I think in terms of the club history, I think we should be able to look at competitions. So 4 leagues now, 6 cups. We won one of them second leagues, and we won the Super Cup as well. So that's 12 trophies. I think we can look at that in our job history as well, which probably pictures it a little bit better. So a few manager month awards. Position wise, I mean, apart from when we first got promoted, we had a second in the first season in the second league. Promoted in the second season, we had a 5th, a 4th, a 5th before we really started getting up towards that top end. And we've had a second, first, second, first, second, and then 2 back-to-back trophy wins for the league. And in amongst that, we've picked up, I think, 4 cups, 2 in a row again. But 3 out of the last 4 years we've won the trophy for the cup as well. So huge in terms of the development and progression of the club. In terms of the facilities and everything, we've improved everything. I mean, we've got state-of-the-art training, good corporate, great youth facilities, exceptional youth recruitment, adequate academies. Just a shame that the stadium's only 5,599 stadium, and our average ticket price is only £9, so we're not really generating much money in terms of that. In terms of the squad itself, the usual standout kind of players there. Olmedo, again, who's been with us for a number of years, best goalkeeper in the league by a country mile. He's going to move on. He won't sign a new contract, so that's another bit of turmoil that we don't have to face because it's the last episode. Sangante as well, he's decided he's going on a free transfer, couldn't renew his contract, so Although we could have cashed on and got about 40 odd million, he's going to go for free, but he's helped us pick up another trophy. And then Martinez is probably worth looking at in terms of his history. 186 games he's played, 122 goals. If I could just get the stats just for us, I mean, he's scored more goals than he's played games this season. But I think, yeah, in terms of for us, he's got a phenomenal goal scoring record, which is amazing. And only 22, with the stats he's got, I think he's got a big bright future ahead. And it would have been interesting to see how many goals he could get over the next 10 or 11, maybe even 12 years he could play before he'd have to retire, especially in the Croatian league. In terms of the development of youth and where we were going, we had a few youth players coming through that we've got from the next gen list. A lot of them are out on loan with some high potential. Suat Jelinek would come in as a new goalkeeper, probably to replace Olmedo. It would be difficult in that first year. We might have to bring another keeper in the interim, but the progression was all really nice on that. And then, I mean, really, there's not much more we can say. We're the best team in the league, and I think if we go to the preview, I mean, at one stage we had every best player in every position. I mean, Costa for some reason is apparently the best striker in the league, despite Martinez being the top goal scorer for, I think, the third year running. And Mansilla is the best left back, although I would say Fazzini probably is. But that's my bias. The side coming through, Martinez for some reason playing that deeper role. But again, odds of 1 to 10, we were considerably further ahead of Dynamo. In terms of how everyone got on in Europe, I mean, we got to the quarterfinals, I think, but I think likewise in the Europa League, and we should be able to see. I don't think they got too far past the quarterfinals as well. So that might have been the last 16. Yeah, Hajduk went out to Olympique Marseille. Dynamo went out to Tottenham 4-3 on aggregate, despite winning the second leg at Spurs, which is a bit unlucky. What that means in terms of the coefficient and the challenge in general, we'd started in 18th in the coefficients, and we've got all the way up to 7th. And although we haven't taken another place in that coefficient list, we've really consolidated the place ahead of Turkey. We're a good 14 points clear of them, and we've closed the gap to Portugal. When that next season dropped off, we'd lose that 8, they'd lose a 13. That 5-point gap would pull us in about equal. So I think we would probably jump up into 6th, and over a few years we might be able to get to that 5th place. So the challenge as a whole, going from 18th to 7th, I would say largely is a success. I mean, over 13 seasons we've taken the club from the 2nd division up to the top division. We've started to win trophies, we've become dominant, we've got back-to-back titles for the first time, and we've won 4 trophies out of the last 5-6 years. So hugely successful from a personal club point of view. There was a European Cup win for Dynamo in there somewhere. I think the year we got 21 points in the coefficient, which in the 32-33 season was huge. I just really struggled to have any kind of influence on their improvements. And in terms of things that went well and things that went bad, I think the things that went well were the purchases we made. I think the players we brought in at the right time on low value that became high value. And when we finally got into Europe and started generating some financial income from that avenue, making the right transfer choices and selling them at the right time helped us generate the money to bring in a few wonder kids, develop the squad, and that helped us massively. Where things didn't necessarily go so well, it's the foreign national players. I bought far too many non-EU players, so Senegal, Brazil, Paraguay. And at one stage I think we had 12, where you can only have 6 in the squad, which made it really difficult. Not investing enough in the Croatian players early enough as well was probably another one that's on me. And again, what it really did is it struggled with the squad rotation rules, and it meant that towards the end of the seasons was always struggling to get the same players and consistent players on the pitch, which maybe could have helped. And then on top of that, I probably didn't really loan the players amongst the clubs in the division particularly well. It's not something I've ever done, and I've not really understood it enough probably to influence where then players go within the division to get the other clubs more competitive on the European scene. I think if we'd kept going, the money we're generating, and I think if you look at the finances, we've got 77 million in the bank, and we were starting to make some transfers, such as Tomislav Pangrancic, who is a Croatian wonder kid that we've managed to snap up off the next gen list. We were starting to get them kind of young players, we were starting to loan them out, and I think we would have started to have more of an influence on the clubs around us. So what I would say is, in terms of if anyone else is ever interested in doing a Build a Nation save, it's certainly a save for the long haul. It's not one you're going to complete, I don't think, in 10, 11 years like we've been through there. I mean, we have made progress, but I think if you were going to really try and push for the top coefficient, you're probably looking at least double that. So you're probably looking 26 years, probably more pushing on towards 30. So might revisit that again in the future at some point. Obviously FM26 is coming out on beta tomorrow. We're going to do a save in Scotland, probably just a traditional unemployed to unstoppable. So we'll start unemployed, we'll take a club, we'll use the normal transfer markets, and we'll take job opportunities to try and get up and win the SPFL in as quick a time as possible, really, so that when the full game comes out, we can maybe do a youth intake challenge again, or something else. We'll see what happens. But hopefully you've enjoyed the save. It's certainly been an interesting one. I'm not going to chalk it up as a success, because I think we were aiming for the top 3 and we didn't quite make it. I mean, but I'm going to take it as a credible 7th from 18th in 13 seasons. And I think if we'd have continued, I'd like to think that we would have got into the top 3 within another 10 to 13 years. But I guess we'll never know. The only other thing I could do is I could holiday onwards and see if it all falls apart. But I think I'm going to go and get ready now for FM26 coming out tomorrow. I've seen some videos on it. It looks pretty good. It looks exciting, and hopefully you'll all tune in and see how we get on in the mighty Scotland. So until FM26, and we see you again. Enjoy your Football Manager. Enjoy the game coming out tomorrow if you're getting it, and I'll see you soon.